Have you played anything lately?
I have. So I picked up Darkest Dungeon 2 on sale, and it's a follow-up to a game that I really enjoyed, Darkest Dungeon, and it carries over a lot
I
of...
really, I definitely thought it was going to be the sequel to Dark Dungeon. I thought
No,
this was a setup.
I wish it was like the sequel to Darker Dungeon. I wish they had done like a Darkest. That would
Right.
be really funny.
A triple. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Tell me
Triple
more
threat.
about the game.
Um, it's it's like a roguelike. This one, it's a roguelike dungeon diver, I guess. This one sort of changes up the formula a little bit, where like you're riding a carriage around through like the plague town, or I should say a town plagued by evil of many types, and you have to sort of navigate
Me.
different interactions. The other one was like you're like just dungeon diving, a little, it was a little bit grittier, and some of the like storage mechanics and stuff were changed. It felt a lot more punishing. This one's a lot more fun. It's a lot quicker. I've beaten like the first two bosses, and I've only played it for like 7 or so hours, right? So it's like way more approachable. The other one, like to be able to get to, although I don't know, I think the way that the end game is set up between the two is very different. Maybe this one doesn't have as much replayability once you've like beaten it or like played it all the way through. So we'll see. Um, Outside of that, content warning, which is a fun little game, which is like Lethal Company, but it's a lot
Oh,
faster.
I thought you were giving.
Huh.
I thought you were giving a content warning. I was like,
Oh.
what are you about to talk about?
Yeah, I saw you. I
Jesus.
saw you did like the little smile, and I was like, oh, like maybe Lane's heard of this one. I did mention
No,
this to
I
Chris.
have not. So it's
Hmm.
yeah. What is it?
Content warning. It's a game, so much like Lethal Company, where you're sort of diving into a dungeon with some friends. This one, you're a lot more incentivized to stay together because you're not collecting anything. You're collecting footage. You go down with a camera, you collect footage of your friends and like the monsters down there. And so, like, by necessity, you get into the action a lot more quickly. You start seeing monsters like right away. Really fun. It's really cool, and you can actually save the videos that you take with the camcorder, and it's in like
Oh,
shitty
that's cool.
camcorder quality. Yeah.
Are
I
the
talked-
monsters scary or are
kinda. They're like
Yeah.
the first time you see them, it's like a little, oh, what is this? And then it like they all have like a gimmick, and then when you see the gimmick, it's like, ah, what the fuck? It's always shocking the first time. It is definitely a
Cool.
bit like off-putting being down there, especially like as your oxygen starts running low, and like if one or two people have died already, it's like, well, I kind of got to get back so I can bring up this camera. So I've been liking it a lot more than Lethal Company, and I did talk to Chris about it, and I was going to try to invite you guys, snag you guys into playing it sometime, because it is really fun. And I talked before about like saving clips from like video games and like clips of playing with friends and stuff, and so the fact that that's sort of built into the game, I
that's
really
cool.
really appreciate and enjoy. So
Yeah. Yeah. You should become a Twitch streamer.
you
Oh,
know,
Ricky's considering it.
I know, because I've considered it before, because I'm like, oh god, it'd be so much fun to like stream, but I don't think I'm entertaining enough for it. I just don't like have crazy reactions or anything when I'm playing games. So
No, what you'll do, you'll play the game, and then instead of streaming it live, you'll do like funny commentary over the gameplay footage. That's what you should do. So like it's then you have time to prepare. But like, who's gonna know?
that would be pretty fun. Germa's done stuff like that before with like pre-recorded streams, and he'll
Germa?
Germa 985.
Is this just a Twitch? I don't know who that is.
Yeah, he's a Twitch streamer. He used to play a lot of TF2.
Is he the one that
decade
everybody
ago?
says does school shootings? Am I making that up? Is that a different streamer?
I don't know
I feel
about
like-
that.
Like as a joke or a meme, people say like, "Oh, this was."
People say that a lot about Sam Hyde. People have like sent
Oh,
his
maybe that's
picture
what I'm
in.
thinking of.
Yeah, but he's like an alt-right guy.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I
no,
feel like there's a
Germa-
streamer that I've heard that said for. Anyway,
So recently Jay Schlatt was like, people were like making fan
Who
art
the
of
fuck
him.
are these people?
I know, they're
my
Twitch
God.
streamers. Jay Schlatt, people made like art of him.
I am a year older than you. Like,
I know. Yeah, but I'm into like gaming and stuff. Sorry, you're into other games. I know you do game. I'm not trying to say you don't game, Lane. Okay.
don't make me pull out my.
I know.
Don't make me pan the camera right now.
I will beat you with both of my. Are they both Mario
My
cases?
toads.
Or no, one is
Yeah.
one's the sheet case and one's the Mario case. Yeah,
Oh yeah, sure.
for the Switch. No. Yeah. Eh. Anyway, getting away from this topic. But one last note. People do post like, "Have you seen this man in your dreams?" And it's like the composite of many
Yeah.
faces. Yeah, people replace that with
it's-
Germa a lot. Yeah, they'll just put Germa's face there. So if you've seen it, that's probably Germa. They also do like the compilation of
I'm
like
looking at this
serial
person.
killers or something.
Yes. Okay, that's what I
That's
think
also-
I've been
that's
seeing.
German.
Maybe not
Yeah.
school shooters. Yeah. Okay, I'm googling this person. Is it spelled G like Germ A or is it J-E-R?
J. Germa 985. Like Jeremy. It comes from Jeremy, Massachusetts, and 1985 is when he was born. So he used to do a lot of TF2 content while I was in middle school and high school. What is that face? You're not that's not a good face.
This is just the face of a man to avoid.
Yeah.
Just like this is like a cross the street when you see this man type.
What
of
do you
face.
mean? No, this guy's so funny. Jerma's so funny.
I mean, I know nothing about this man. I am literally just going off the Google image results, and I've seen enough.
That's crazy. I mean, I think the second picture, the one that's from Wikitubia, that's a good photo of him. Yeah, that's a good pic of him. Come on.
That's a good pick.
Yeah, that's probably the best you're going to get from him, honestly.
Well, it's the haircut. He has like a school shooter haircut, like the middle part.
His hair looks different every single stream.
Early 2000. It's literally the same haircut in all of these photos. He's also wearing like the two-tone Henley, which is like the school shooter uniform. I feel like
That's
Anyway.
crazy.
This guy's
Wow.
just got school shooter energy. I'm attaching it to him. Anyway,
Please, he doesn't.
please don't sue me, famous Twitch streamer, if you watch this.
He would not.
He looks like he says slurs for fun.
He does not. This is so the opposite of Germa and like Germa energy. I feel offended on his behalf.
Calling him by his like handle is cringe.
Would
calling
you want me
any-
to call him Jeremy? Do you
I
call
don't
like
know.
what do you call Drake?
I mean, there's a difference between.
What? Call him
Goofy.
Aubrey.
Okay.
Well, how is that
I
goofy?
mean, people do call him Aubrey, but
Yeah, but like I don't know, he's an entertainer, so I'm gonna call him by the name which he's known by as an entertainer.
I think we should just know fewer of these types of people. Anyway, this is We Want to Watch, and my name is Lane.
My name is Ricky.
And this is a podcast where we talk about dumb shit that Ricky's into, like this movie. No, just kidding. This is a great movie that we're about
This
to
is an
talk about.
excellent movie. What the fuck?
This is a great movie. This week it was a Rick's pick, so you Rick pick it.
Yeah, this week we watched Eat, Drink, Man, Woman, which is a 1994 film directed by Ang Lee.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. So I'm glad that we watched this. I've seen this movie before, but I had added it to. It was actually on the Ricky Kino 101
Okay.
letterbox list. So this is an OG movie that we just never got to before we started this podcast. So along with the likes of like The Godfather and Heat, all the
We
other
got the
things.
Heat, though.
It kind of stood out. It kind of stood out on those. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no. So I'm glad you picked this. I kind of think you just picked it based on vibes. Which you normally do, but I don't remember what it was that made this jump out to you.
I saw the title for it and like the picture that they include. I don't know what
And
that's
you were like,
the
hell yeah, I love
cover art.
food. I love
Yeah,
man
it looked great.
and
Yeah.
woman.
Eat, drink, like those. Man, woman.
I like all
hey.
these things.
Yeah, what's not to like?
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride. I don't know. I think it just looked like really nice, and also we've been watching a lot of sort of like heavier films, or maybe not heavier, but like darker in theme or tone. Yeah, heavy. And so I wanted a bit of a lighter fare, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know if this. Well, it hit for a different reason than I thought it would. This is like after you have like a big meal, and like maybe it was a little greasy or something, and you're going for a dessert, right? And it's like, well, I don't really know if I want dessert. It might not hit right. This is like a nice ice cream, which like lifts. But it's still like it's like creamy. There's like a richness to it. Like it's deep and complex. It's not like water ice. I don't know why I'm using two frozen desserts.
It's okay.
I can't think of something else.
This is going to be a food heavy episode, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, but really, really excellent. And like the film, I really enjoyed this film. Really excellent.
Also, water ice.
Film. Also water ice. I love water ice so much. And ice cream.
That's fucked up.
Man.
Water ice is so gross. Ricky, you're
That's great. What?
Prolific ice cream lover, but water ice is gross. Sorry.
What do you mean? What water ice have you had? I'm sorry. Why am I getting so aggressive?
5 water ices.
Yeah. What the fuck? I had to like
gross.
check myself there. What do you mean it's gross?
It's like eating ice. It's like, what if ice cream were bad? Like, what if you took all the rich, savory things out of ice cream and made them bad?
Do you like slushies? Have you had like a good slushie? Do you enjoy slushies?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm not. That's not a dessert. That's a candy.
Well, it is a dessert.
It's like different.
I think the best water ice.
Candy's not dessert.
Okay. Well, it can be, especially if you just eat candy as a dessert, which I do, right? Anyway, water ice.
Candy is a snack. Anyway, water ice. Get it out. Go on.
I could eat a dessert as a snack. Tell me, like, what? You never have a piece of cake as a snack?
It's blending. It's like sometimes dessert can be a snack, but not all snacks are desserts. And candy is not a dessert, but it's a snack.
So you're calling water ice candy specifically? Or slushies candy specifically?
No, slushies are candy. Water ice is mildew. Water ice is disgusting.
What? Whoa! Where's the delineation between these two? Because...
Okay, we are not paying this movie the...
well, no, we'll get into it. We are, by paying homage to food, we pay homage to this movie.
I don't know that that's true.
Yeah, I think it's true. I'm gonna go with
our listeners that are like not on the East Coast are like, what the fuck is water ice?
Oh, also water ice is also known by like Italian
ice.
Shaved ice is another term for it. Yeah. Although shaved
ice
is usually very
specific. It's where you put some fucking food coloring on some ice flakes and then you say it's flavored, but it's not. It's gross.
Okay, so that's sort of different from my experience of water ice.
Well, as a person of water ice experience.
So like, I agree that the lower end of water ice can be very bad, but I think that the higher end can be much better than like the best slushie, right? And like Rita's is kind of middling, but it's pretty good. It's a good start. So, but yeah, just throwing that.
Why would you ever get that when you could just eat ice cream?
I think some of it's better than ice cream. Also, because like ice cream is too heavy sometimes. It's nice and light.
Get a sorbet.
Oh yeah, I would love a sorbet too. That'd be excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, sorbet. Anything is better than
gelato.
Ice.
Oh yeah. Not anything.
Gelato,
not
sure.
Everything, but yeah.
Anyway.
I think I feel like you just haven't had good ones before. Have you had Rita's before?
This is the no true Scotsman fallacy right here. Well, you didn't have real water ice.
Yeah, you've never had real haggis, have you? No, you haven't had. Have you had Rita's before?
Yes, I've had Rita's.
And you
I've had every kind
too?
of fucking. Yeah,
That's
I don't
crazy.
like it. It's boring. It's like eating. I don't know, like ice. It's like eating ice.
It's.
Christopher is laughing his ass off in the other room. I can feel it. Anyway,
it's good stuff. What does Chris think of water ice?
He doesn't like it because
That's
he's correct.
crazy! What are you talking about? This is crazy.
You just flew off the mic so bad. Oh my god. Okay, I agree with you. This movie was a great palate cleanser or like refreshing change of pace from some of the stuff we've watched recently. So
Yeah, for
you're
sure.
right and valid for that comparison, even though I would have used
Leave it there. Leave it there.
allegory. Yeah. No, our last like fun movie, our last like truly fun movie was Devil Wears Prada, which was like fully 15 episodes ago at this point. So
I was looking through some of the earlier ones because I sent the pod to one of my friends. Shout out Andy if you're listening.
Shout out Andy.
And I was like, damn, like Sicario, Amadeus does like a lot of like heavier films. I was like, they're all good, but like
Hereditary.
Hereditary,
you missed a couple of.
He mentioned he was talking to me about Hereditary.
I have an idea too. I think for our like 1 year episode, like our 1 year 50-second episode, whatever.
Yeah.
We should do like a retrospective of like our top fives, like best and worst, and like like a review ep. I think that could be really fun.
Yeah. That'd be really fun.
Anyway, but yes. No, I agree. I think this was totally a great choice. So it's when you suggested it, I remember it was during the Kinds of Kindness episode, I believe, and I think we were both pretty drunk. Oh, it was when I was peeing in the bathroom, and I heard you. Yeah, and I was like, "Ooh, cool," because it's a great movie. It's a fun one to rewatch as well. Even knowing how things went, I feel like I enjoyed it even more on a second watch.
Yeah. I think like the comedic timing in a lot of the film is really great. The reason I would say it's a little bit heavier than I was expecting, because I was expecting something very lighthearted. A lot of the, I don't want to say conflict. Yeah, like a lot of the conflict and a lot of the sort of like more emotionally taut moments between the middle sister and the oldest sister, like they really hit. I cried like twice in this film, and I cracked up a bunch during it.
That's definitely a laugh out loud movie. It's funnier than I remembered too.
Yeah. There's so many scenes that like the quick like juxtapositions between certain scenes, like so good. I'm trying to think of which ones in particular caught my eye. I mean, when the youngest sister got pregnant, and then she was like, "Oh, by the way, we got married," and he's waiting outside, and then it just like cuts to them like outside, and her dad's like, "All right, my blessings," and then like either the next dinner or like 2 dinners later, the oldest sister does like the same thing, and like the middle sister's like, "You're pregnant?" Like, what the hell? So good.
Yeah.
Wuxian.
Well, yeah, and she's like, she's like, "Oh."
Oh no, Wuxian is the actress.
Because they're all like, "He's not a Christian," and she's like, "He will be. It's fine."
yeah.
This is
like, he's getting baptized. It's okay. We already got married this morning. Like,
yeah. We couldn't
just couldn't wait.
No, I like this movie does set you up, I think, for a little bit more of like a kind of a silly, like almost not a farce, but like a, it's the generations and they don't understand each other, like this kind of like generational drama or like conflict. And it is that, but there's no big knockdown drag out fights. There's no like big dramatic, like monologuing or like anything like that. Like, people yelling at each other, like, "You just don't understand me." Like, there's none of that. It's very, like, kind of quiet and repressed, which is very interesting. Like, in the beginning, especially, like, you watch the opening fucking scene, which, if you have not seen this movie and you don't intend to, first off, fuck you. But also, if you're not going to do it, then at least go on YouTube and look up the opening cooking scene, and then maybe you'll understand. Because the father sets up this, like, super elaborate, like, delicious meal, that's like obviously supposed to be like this big family tradition, and they're all like, him and his 3 daughters are supposed to get together and eat this wonderful Sunday evening meal, and like he goes to basically all day preparations for it, and then and it looks good. We'll talk about the food, the way the food is shot in this, but they all sit down and they're all like, "Oh, this is gross." Like, Dad doesn't know how to salt his food anymore.
So,
And no one's enjoying it, no one's eating, and he keeps bringing out dish after dish. It's so funny.
so while he's cooking, and it cuts to each of them, and
Oh,
all
yeah.
three of them try to go like they all like have people ask them
to go
to
to
do
dinner.
something, and yeah, they're all like, I have Sunday torture again, like, and it's like, man,
yeah.
I felt so bad for him watching all of that, especially like, ooh, when he's frying up that chicken, and he's like pulling the oil out. Oh, that looks so good.
Yeah, some of the food does look fucking just unbelievably good. Some of it is
Yeah.
like, I'm like, what even is this item of food? Like,
Yeah, right?
you know, he's like chopping up like a daikon radish, and I'm like, okay, I know what this is, like a bell pepper. And then he'll pull out like a piece of meat that looks like it's from, you know, something from Alice in Wonderland. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what the fuck is this?
And
But it
he's
still
like,
looks
this
good.
soup, 1,000-year phoenix, like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
Rising
oh,
Phoenix,
okay, great.
yeah.
Rising Phoenix,
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, right, of course, I'll just make that at home.
Yeah. But it is funny though, because when the daughters come and they, you know, all join around the table, you can kind of understand why it's lost its luster to them. Because, like, first off, the vibes are rancid. The vibes
Yeah.
are so bad in the
Yeah.
house. You know, everybody is unfucked and like unsatiated, and like no one is happy. And yeah, and of course, like if he is, you know, kind of losing his touch, losing his, you know, taste,
Yeah.
as they mentioned throughout, like, of course it would be like, ooh, this like thing that your dad has to cling to because your mom's not there anymore.
I love how much of a sort of cornerstone of the film his taste becomes, right?
Yeah.
Or like a touchstone, because it's not really a cornerstone, it's sort of out of the way, it's like a plot point, and then we get that sort of touching scene at the end, which we'll touch on later, which is just like only based on his taste. But yeah, with it sort of losing its luster, the dynamic of the table on that first night sort of sets the tone for the rest of the film, and it does.
Oh, totally.
Right, and it does make you think that it's going to be a generational gap thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because they set up the conflict with Jia Shen, who is the like airline executive, that she's like, she's gonna move out and she's gonna be like the first one to get her own apartment and everything, and you know, and so yeah, you're like, oh, here we go, okay, but that's not it at all. And he kind of like doesn't really put up any resistance to it. He seems kind of resigned, and that's where the name of the movie comes from, right? Where he's like, I guess it's just eat, drink, man, and woman. Like that's all we really do, you know. And
Yeah.
He's lost his luster for it. So yeah, it does become kind of this like synecdoche of like the larger picture.
So it's also it's really funny when you like recontextualize the movie once you get the big reveal in the middle of it that he's actually trying to marry. I forget her name because we watched this a little bit ago, but
yeah, Ming Dao. Am I making that up?
Jinrong.
No.
It's Jinrong.
Yeah.
And her mom is Madame Liang.
Right.
And like throughout the whole film, they're like sort of like poking, not poking fun, but like they dance around the fact they're like, oh, I bet he's talking to Madame Liang, right? Liang, and it's like it's so funny, like that dinner when he reveals that it's Jinrong, and like,
this movie is twist upon twist. Like, this movie is so like it's so fun like that. Like it's just like, fuck it, everybody's doing things that they, you know, like were unexpected to do, or they're pursuing their dreams that they, you know, seem to have abandoned or not even had interest in up to that point.
Big for Zhai Xian, right? The second daughter.
Yeah.
And like, so her seeing him at the hospital and like,
changes the whole dynamic.
Right. And it really sort of leads you down that path of, oh shit, like what's going to happen to him? I guess they're all going to move out.
Yeah.
He's dying. I thought this was going to be a real big tearjerker, right?
Yeah. Nope, he's just making sure that his dick still works for his new wife, basically.
And he's getting like massages and shit all the time too, and it's like, oh my god, it's so funny. And there's like one scene between him and Jinrong earlier, and it's like it's not like
It's
fraught with
playful.
any sort of tension. Right,
Yeah.
it's playful.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it
but you
doesn't...
can really tell, like, all of... Go ahead. I cut you off.
No. You can tell.
I was just gonna say, you could really tell that he is so invested in her. It like clicks into place with the way he treats the daughter, you know, and those scenes of him, starting with her lunches and then eventually basically feeding half the class is so funny and so cute. And really, it kind of gives him the like vigor to cook and have taste and everything again, because he has someone who's appreciating it. And that's not to say that his daughters are like bad for not, but just they're at a different time in their lives. So, it's really, it comes together very nicely.
Yeah. And I think it sort of adds to the nuance between him and the second daughter, right? Because
she likes to cook too, but she never gets to at home.
And she felt driven out of the kitchen, and then she gets to cook that last meal inside of like his kitchen, right?
His
Which
house,
she was always like, oh, it's his kitchen, like I'm not allowed in there. I couldn't cook there. It just takes it to like a new level for that, right? And then for him to be able to taste and appreciate, and of course he has to like the reveal is that he's like nitpicking through her food, right? Which is like what they would do to him. So like, all right, fine, whatever. But and then she's like, no, you're always too not gentle with the ginger, too sparing, too she says like cowardly or something. She's like you need the flavor in there, and he's like no, you ruined the balance. It needs to be in balance. Like,
and then they're like, oh shit, you can taste.
It's such a cute moment there. And she's like, it's mom's recipe. Like, I know, it's good. Like, this is the way I like it. It's so cute. It's such like a wholesome relationship to see. And it's when he first started making food for is Chu the daughter? Shan. It like so cute. But when he like walks into the classroom and he's like setting out all the little
pulling out like
boxes.
all the dishes and stuff. Yeah,
he's like, I only had a small amount of time, so here's ribs and crab and like, just like the most ridiculous stuff.
Well, yeah, because when he first decides to do it, and he's like, well, where's your lunchbox? And she holds up like some money, like some cash. He looks appalled. Like, he's like, wait, this isn't right.
It's so cute.
It's good.
Yeah, I at first thought that was him just trying to feel appreciated again, right?
Yeah.
And then like later when it's like, oh, okay, this is really like his new daughter. It put a whole new lens on it. But it's still his appreciation, and it's appreciation for like a new generation too. I don't know. It's super cute and sweet. I mean. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the problematic age gap in this relationship.
I knew you were gonna say that. I fucking knew you were gonna say that. My God. Okay, hang on. I have to scare this squirrel off the bird feeder again.
Okay.
Before my cat eats it. Okay. It's like doing backflips and tricks on it. Like...
He doing flips on it for real.
He was. It is sweet, their relationship.
I think it is really sweet, and also I don't think that like all of the interactions with Madame Liang like really threw me off, because I was like, oh, like she doesn't seem great. She's like blowing smoke in his face, and he obviously doesn't smoke. So he's just sort of like coughing and like,
but he just like tolerates it.
Yeah. And he does it like the whole night, and then, or he does it like multiple times. But I remember the one in particular, like the one night she's like talking to him, and she's like, "Marriage is good for nothing. Marriage really sucks, huh?" And he's like, "Yep,
yep,
whatever
sure
you say."
Yeah.
And that's just like trying to get in her good graces because he's trying to marry her daughter, and it's
yeah, basically.
Yeah,
it's funny.
Yeah, it's so silly.
It is a silly movie in a lot of ways. Like, there's definitely a lot of, like, contrived kind of coincidences and things like that. And, like, but it works. This movie doesn't kind of move into, like, magical realism at any point, really. But, like, it does have that kind of sense of whimsy. and fun kind of like coincidence that does come together in the end in that like heartwarming way and not like in a eye rolling or like unbelievable way.
Yeah. I mean, they also like they make things very storybook. Like all of the love interests are like storybook love interests. And again, I'm going to touch on the second daughter. I think she had the most interesting story. Just throwing that out there. Like,
she does,
and like we see.
Well, she doesn't end up with
relationship, right? And she has the most nuanced relationship with not only her father but with the other sisters as well. At least in my eyes.
No, she does, because she has the kind of conflict, little bit of conflict with the older daughter about the boyfriend that wasn't.
Yeah. And then the conflict with the younger daughter about, like, because the younger daughter was, like, talking about how, it'd be good for him to have someone in his life again, yada, yada.
Oh,
and
yeah, sure.
The middle daughter was like, no, like, you weren't here when Mom was around. You don't know what this was like. Yeah. Like, don't talk to me about this. You were just a kid.
Yeah.
But also, so she abandoned her, like, dreams of working in a kitchen, right?
Right.
Just like her sort of love interest for most of the film abandoned his main interest. I forget what it was. I remembered it, like, a week or two ago. I should have watched this movie again before we did this, to be honest with you. I'm looking through right now to see if they have it written anywhere. Okay, they don't.
The love interests hobby?
Yeah, so he talked about what he wanted to do. He like dropped out of school for something, and then he moved to America, and then eventually he got this job, and they're trying to get her to move to Amsterdam. I forget what it was.
Right.
But he also had something that he had like given up, right? Or maybe like he graduated. He had like graduated in something in some field, which he didn't pursue a job in. It's something along those lines. But the same sort of idea of like gaining mastery of something. Like she gained mastery within the kitchen, but she felt sort of pushed out of it because she couldn't cook at home because that's where her father's domain was, and like they wouldn't let her in the kitchens at work anymore because. I mean, now that she sort of knows everything and she can call people on their shit, right? They're going to force her out. But she loves cooking her food at home, and she loves like serving a lot of food to people. Like that's the way she sort of expresses her love, and it's so nice to see when she starts to open up to him a little bit more. And then she goes to sort of like cut things off with her ex-boyfriend.
And he's already like shacked up with his fiance.
Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, it just happened so quickly." And then they go to dinner and like or lunch or something, and this is another like funny storybook coincidence where he goes like, "Oh, but if you want to still be good friends, right?"
Yeah.
And she just sort of like gets
and he's
up
like,
and walks
she'd
out.
like her, or she'd like you too. Yeah, she's like, bye.
It's just like the scummiest thing in the world you could say. And then she goes and she meets with like her newer love interest, the guy from work.
Lee Kai,
Yeah, and he goes, I'm glad nothing happened between us. And she sort of like stops for a second, and he goes, not that like I wouldn't want something to happen, and not that like it wouldn't have been nice, right? But I'm really glad we can be good friends. And it's like it's like the same thing said in two like wildly different contexts, and I don't know, it's so cool, and it's just like a cute little storybook coincidence. But I love that. I love that in movies. I'm a sucker for it. It's great.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the thing. Like, I think a big part of this movie is finding balance between food and sex, or like the those kinds of like drives, and like she is the only one who is sexually active really at the start of the movie, and so she doesn't cook, and so toward the end, like she can cook again, even if she is like no longer kind of having a fling with either of these guys. Like it's just like a people being fulfilled in their deeper kind of base passions, but so it's a fulfilling arc in that way for her.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's so cool to watch her cook, and it's nice to like the phone call she had at the end with the younger sister's husband.
Oh yeah.
Like it's so cute. I don't know. It's just so I don't know how to describe it. Like I love the like touches of like familial love, and like this movie is wrought with them, and there's a lot of like really tense moments, but like through it all, their love really shines through. This feels so like sappy to say, but it's so true.
No, you're not wrong. No, it is a movie with a lot of like kind of like quiet moments of love where it's not, again, it's not like a big showy flashy, people screaming at each other or like crying and whatever, like that doesn't happen.
Right.
So yeah, it's good. It's very sentimental in a good way, like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Should we talk about the food?
Yeah.
Should we like really get into the food?
Oh yeah.
Because I said, go ahead.
While it's on my mind, sorry, with the eat, drink,
No.
man, love, like yin yang
Man,
sort of
woman.
thing. Fuck,
Eat, drink, man, woman.
Why do I keep doing that? That's so crazy.
You have called this movie like 4 different objects instead
know.
of. You're like cat, dog, up, down.
Eat, drink, man, woman, and then yin yang, right? The guy who does he pass on? I think he dies.
Yeah, the chef,
taster.
old
Yeah,
Wen.
yeah. When he was like drinking and like yakking it up with our boy,
that was so funny.
Lao Zhu. Yeah.
That's one of the funniest scenes. Yeah, when they're like, "You idiot! You wouldn't know what to do if you didn't have me." Like they're like.
Well, he sort of touches on it too. He's I don't know if he says like like food and sex. But he definitely does like man, woman, yin yang.
They
and
say
like,
it.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if food sex was one of those pairings. But yeah, it's such like a like deep shower thought or whatever, like r/shower thoughts. But it is like like you kind of need balance of everything in life. Shout out, huh?
Yeah, I said shout out Reddit.
Please, we're not shouting out Reddit on the pod.
If any of our watchers want to start a subreddit for We Want to Watch, please feel free. Oh my god. The squirrel is doing splits and tricks on it. It's clinging to the window, the screen outside that's like next to the bird feeder, and it looks, I mean, it's fucked up to see a squirrel this close. Banksy is this far from the window. He's like,
it's just fucked up seeing a squirrel this close.
It really is. Okay, let me go scare it one more time. And then hopefully... It's raining. Like, go to bed. Well, I don't want the squirrels eating the bird seed,
Oh, no. I agree. Get them out of here.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. No, yeah, it is like the yin yang of it all, or like the balance. I do think it's an interesting theme, I guess, in a movie like this. Like, again, like a movie about like fathers and daughters, or a father and daughters, and like, yeah, again, like there's a generational gap there, but so like the idea of like finding balance between your family role versus your individual pursuits and like food and sex, again, like just the very base things. It's very unique. I feel like you don't see a lot of movies like that.
Yeah, and as well as generational, also cultural, right? Because
sure.
Like at least for the younger daughters, it's at least a lot more acceptable for them to be more like sexually promiscuous, and the older daughter sees it as almost like I mean as a sin, not almost like a sin, like as a sin, because she's like very Christian, very like reserved
until the end.
Until the end, yeah.
Until the end when she puts on her red lipstick and she's like, we are fucking.
Yeah, yeah.
Good.
And I mean, she sort of has to, like something has to like break that barrier, right? And she just like had enough, right? Like her students harass her. Oh, we just talked about the scenes with her students too, with like the notes, and oh man, there's so much to this movie.
That shit
it's
sucks.
So good.
Yeah. There is a lot to this movie. It's not, it's like very plotty in a way, but it's fun.
She also
it doesn't get bogged down.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
She gets like angry when the younger daughter sort of makes fun of her clothes, because she's like, because the dad tries to give the younger daughter some of her clothes, and she's like, that's crazy. Like, he has dementia. He thinks I'm gonna wear this stuff. And then she, like, grabs it for her. And, like, I thought it was quite nice, actually. You know, back in my day. Oh,
Yeah. It is funny.
It is. It's super cute just to see, like, the sisters interacting with each other, and, like, the opportunities that they take to interact with one another. Like,
Yeah.
when they're cleaning up, or like in the hallways and stuff, like immediately outside of the family room looking in. Like, it's
Yeah.
it's definitely
It's
like
nice.
an interesting family dynamic.
Yeah.
But it's great to see, like, the sisters be conspiratorial towards each other, right?
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. They're not like it's not like a feel good, everyone's nice and innocent, type of movie.
Right.
Like, that doesn't happen. So, yeah. It's good. It's very human.
Yeah.
It's very, very human.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the poster. Now, this is one of the posters that I might hang in my little kitchen area.
I condone that wholeheartedly.
It's one
by
of the
way.
three.
I think that's a great
Yeah,
one.
yeah. Shout out Priya, I think, for recommending that. Priya, who definitely has never and will never listen to this podcast.
Well,
I don't think,
that's
unless
fine.
even if we have him
out.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one
But no,
and American Werewolf in
it's a great
London,
poster.
which are both great posters.
It's true. That American Werewolf, and what was the third one that he
Forget.
said to do?
Scroll up.
Oh, Rebecca. The green, one of the green ones,
Oh,
he said.
yeah.
And, Rebecca that'd be a crazy, those are three very different movies. But,
Yeah. That's very film bro.
This
of
one
you.
is
Yeah.
to have three different movies. Well, I already
Wow.
have The Third Man
No,
up
you're
there,
right.
so.
Well, I mean,
I should
have
just get the
breadth of-
fucking The Departed poster 3 times. Have it say The Departed 6 times in my living room. No, I don't like that. I like that poster, but not aesthetically. No, I'm looking at the Eat, Drink, Man, Woman one, and the food on it just looks, just
It's killer,
disgustingly
right?
incredible. It's
Yeah.
so good. Yeah. I'm wondering if the dishes mean anything. Now, I don't really know anything about, like, Taiwanese, like, cuisine specifically or anything like that, so I can't speak to some of the, like, what the specific foods necessarily mean. Like I'm sure that there is symbolism happening in the foods, or, like, the dishes beyond just, like, these are very elaborate, traditional meals. But just looking at the ones on the poster, there's, like, these, like, prawns or shrimp with broccoli. There's, like, some sort of, like, shrimp and pea, like, fried rice. And I don't even know what this it looks like red bell peppers with maybe like fried little shrimp. I don't know. All three of them look delicious, though.
Oh yeah, the one I'm looking at from Wikipedia is, like, pretty small. I just can't see it very well.
Oh,
But
yeah. Here, I got you, fam.
and then I zoom in, and it's just not great. Food does look excellent, though. I love
Hopefully that's
I
a
love
little better.
Chinese dishes. They look so cool. A little bit better. Yeah.
Oh, you're too
I wouldn't be
close to
able
the
to
screen.
identify them. I'm sorry, my bad. Yeah, the one
It's okay.
the one sort of, like, in the center of the frame, with like the prawns on it. Oh, the shrimp
looks
with
so
head
good.
on it still is so good. It's crazy.
Love some head.
Yeah.
Love to, yeah.
This and some shrimp head. Oh, some shrimp and some head. Oh. Tell me a shrimp gave this head? Ah, that's just a...
God damn it. I wonder, I just wonder if there's any meaning. There's also, like, these little roses, like, kind of, they must be made out of, like, vegetables or something, or like maybe a thinly sliced pepper. I don't know, but kind of carved into, like, this rose shape on each plate. And I wonder if there's anything there other than, again, they're just, like, beautiful dishes, but obviously the three girls have such different personalities. I wonder, how similar the the dishes might be to their personalities.
Yeah,
if you were a
or
dish,
to, like,
what
their
would you
character
be?
arcs. Oh, I don't know. It could also apply to their names. Just as a small side note, yeah, I know one of my friends' names. Oh, I could be getting this wrong. I'm probably getting it wrong. it's like egg bowl or something like that, like egg rice bowl. And I know a popular dish is like mother and child, which is like egg and chicken over
chicken.
rice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm sure that there were like puns of those nature in the film that
Maybe
just like right over my head at the very least. I didn't realize any of them.
If you were on this poster, what would the dish be that represents your character arc?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know of any particular dish that like represents me well. I think I wouldn't be able to name one. I kind of want to say ramen, but like that's not very Ricky. I don't know what is.
No,
I don't know.
It's you're gonna make me bleep your fucking name. Another editing fiasco.
47 minutes.
I feel like you're like 64 pieces of popcorn chicken. Like I feel like
no sauce. It's just 64 pieces of popcorn chicken.
I didn't say with
They're
no
all
sauce.
stuck together too. It's like one big ball of just 64 pieces of popcorn chicken.
I just feel like you're like
What the fuck? Is that what you do with popcorn chicken?
well you
you
you this is what I mean. You do it. You're proving my point right now.
But blang?
Yeah. You're just like small bites.
Small bites.
Your tapas. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I could see that. I could see me being like a tapas dish
But
with like.
but you are from Central PA, so you're popcorn chicken.
I'm not from Central PA.
Okay, you're from Pennsylvania.
I'm from Philadelphia.
Ricky's from Butler, PA, where Trump got shot.
No, I'm not. That's Western PA. I'm from.
I know.
I'm from Eastern PA. If you don't want to say Philadelphia,
yes.
say I'm from.
You could say Philly. Yeah, I know you're from Philly. You're the one who argues you're not from fucking Philly.
Say I'm from around Philadelphia, the suburbs of Philadelphia.
Do this. I'm not doing this.
We're doing it.
Christopher, if I were a dish, what would I be? Speak loudly so the mic can hear you. Like if to represent my character arc, if I were an eat, drink, man, woman, and there was a dish on the poster that would represent me.
Oh, so like not just like a piece of cutlery.
Yeah, like no, not like a piece of cutlery.
Some food. Okay.
Yes, like a specific cuisine or dish. Chris, what type of crockery would I be? Am I a gravy boat?
Probably like a pierogi.
A pierogi?
Ooh.
Why am I pierogi? I'm offended.
Oh,
a dumpling?
Yeah.
You're offended by a pierogi?
A pierogi's so Philly.
I like pierogies. There's so many different types of pierogies. You know what? I might be. I'm claiming
Chris
pierogi if you don't want it.
Chris doesn't know how crazy I am that I'm going to be thinking about that for 3 weeks. Like, what does that mean? Don't laugh. We ate some pierogi flavored chips. We got like a bag of like special pierogi flavor Philly. There's like a whole Philly.
Does it just taste like cheese and potato?
It tastes like a pierogi. I swear to God, it tastes like with like the onion and like green chives and stuff. Like it has the flavors. Okay. Yeah, I forget the brand, but there's like a limited edition Philly branded, like line of potato chips. There's that. There's cheesesteak. I think there's one other thing I can't remember.
Classic.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
Cheesesteak stuff to me is always like. I mean, I like a good steak.
Gross.
Wow, that's crazy. I like a good steak, but I think like cheesesteak branded stuff is so weird to me. Like cheesesteak egg rolls, like just gross.
That's gross. Yeah, that's nasty.
Yeah.
A pierogi.
Oh. I don't think pierogi's a bad one. What do you mean? What does that mean?
No, it's just I'm just trying to figure out what that means. Like, what's the explanation there? He said like a dumpling.
Dumpling's cute. That's an affectionate.
Is that just a boyfriend thing? Okay, well
that's
then I don't want affectionate. I want the essential truth of who I am. Yeah. Get out of my recording studio.
Tell Chris I thought pierogi was good.
He thinks pierogi's good. Ricky does.
This is great. Thank you, Ricky.
You're welcome, Chris.
Gas each
Keep
other
Chris here for a second. I want to
Shout
make
out Brussels.
Shout out Brussels.
Shout out Brussels.
I'm gonna make a real quick.
Talk to you.
I'm gonna make a real quick point with this movie, and I'm gonna tie Chris into this with a question.
Okay, Am I supposed to like just narrate this to him?
I can't hear a word you're saying.
Well,
wait,
yeah,
no,
yeah, do that. So, one of the big themes in this film being food and generational gap with food. Something that's always struck me is for like first generation immigrants, a big point of strife in the family.
Oh, Ricky's being
in the
racist
house.
to you.
I'm not being racist. What? I was going.
I'm kidding,
This is crazy.
I'm kidding.
I wanted to ask something really genuine
Keep
here.
talking. No, ask your genuine question.
So I've had a lot of friends who, growing up, like were mocked or whatever for not or whatever. They were mocked for their food, like smelling or looking weird. Mainly just not looking like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And I mean, it happened a lot in elementary school. But by the time I got to like middle or high school, I feel like a lot of that had like sadly been not beaten out of kids, but like beaten out of kids by bullies and whatnot, and not even by bullies, just by like ignorant kids who were being mean, which I guess is the definition of bully when it comes down to it. So did this happen to you at all? I'm sorry, I'm just wondering. Like, tell me about your lived experience.
My mom was the kind of mom that sent me to fucking baseball with sushi California rolls, and I was eating weird shit all the way through middle school too, sardines and stuff like that. And I grew up around a bunch of Norwegians, so they looked at me like, oh. But then again, they're eating, lefse and lutefisk. So, well, not lutefisk. Wait, no, yes, the lutefisk, not lefse. I forget.
Lefse is a food.
Yeah, well, I think they're both food.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So did that strain your relationship at all? Because I mean, I know, like, I've had disagreements with parents, and in different ways, but food is so, like, integral to the human experience that, like, I couldn't even imagine trying to, like, tell my parent, no, I don't want this, like, lovingly created meal or whatever. Like, did that strain your relationship? Did it come to a point where you talked to your mom about that? Like, saying, hey, like, other kids are making fun of me? Or did you just sort of, what happened with it? How did it felt?
I definitely leaned into the weird.
Yeah.
I prided myself in being the only kid that knew how to use chopsticks, and we'd always have discussions on whether Vikings or samurais would win and stuff like that.
Nice. Dude, that's admirable. Not many people take that path. It's a tough path to take.
True. And, Norwegians, well, and I guess they weren't all Norwegians. But
you're really digging into this Norwegian thing, man.
They are very Norwegian.
I would say most of them were Norwegians. My one friend had 32 cousins. All of them lived within like half an hour of our 1,200 person town.
Is that a Norwegian thing? They just like don't move. They like settle and don't move and make massive families.
I mean, I think it was just like a little crevice of Norwegians that really took root in Connecticut.
Crevice.
That's crazy.
No, you're racist.
The
crevasse.
I mean, my one friend's grandma was great. Like, she was from Norway, had moved over, and like she learned how to speak English from watching WWE. But
would she like announce you walking in with like, and in this corner, weighing in? Was that just like a normal thing when you walked into her house, or?
No. But she was always exciting and had a lot of fun things to say and feed me, so that was always good.
Sunday, come down to our house for a barbecue.
For lefse bread.
Lefse.
Do you have anything you'd like to say about Eat, Drink, Man, Woman while you're here?
Good movie, good food. It's hard for me, at least, to remember what exactly goes on because I keep getting distracted by how the dishes look.
Yeah,
And it makes me really hungry. So it's one of those ones where I would probably have to rewind a bunch, but it's good regardless.
Hell yeah.
Well said. All right, thanks, special guest Chris.
I'll leave you to it.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye, Ricky.
Bye, Chris.
He says bye.
Great film.
Great film. Great man.
Yeah, Chris.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you shared that because
pierogi.
Okay, get over it. Get over it. Go on. Pierogi's good. Pierogi is a good pick too.
I know. It's just it's like that's.
There's a lot. Because there's a lot of different types of pierogis, and like you can fill them with.
So I'm replaceable. You can't win this game.
No, you come in many flavors. All right, calm down.
Well, I do. Anyway.
What is that supposed to mean?
You said come.
Okay.
Anyway, you were gonna.
Gotcha.
You're glad that Chris.
I'm glad
said
Chris shared that.
because...
Yeah, no, I had friends, and it's not something that I evaluated when I was young. Like, I had friends who would bring in food, and I would like trade for it because I loved like the little fish cakes and stuff like that. I love like super salty, savory snacks. So like they're like the little long fish cakes that are like wrapped in seaweed. I would go crazy for them. Those are really good. And like sesame cakes and stuff. I just love that stuff.
Yeah.
And like it never made sense. Like I never got why people would like make fun of like what other people were eating. Because like it's all food and it all tastes good. And then like middle school, I was bullied, so like I didn't notice it then. Because like if like whether or not anyone else was being bullied for that, like for like food or whatever. And when I got to high school, I feel like my high school, most people were like really comfortable with themselves, so like willing to bring food that they might be like ridiculed for or whatever. Like they just didn't care.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's like great that Chris was like, yeah, no, like that he really embraced it. He leaned into it. Because I've talked to friends like now who growing up did sort of like give up on like whatever like foods that their parents would give them, and like they would fight with them about it, and it's like hard to sort of like, I don't know, once that fracture is there, once you sort of rent that sort of in the relationship, it's hard to mend it. And so like it just comes from feeling like you have to conform to certain societal or social norms for like really no reason, like beyond no reason. It's just food, and it's also like, I don't know, like food is such like an easy love language, and to deny that from a parent is like tough. That would really hurt me if my kid was like, oh, I'm not going to eat something that you make for me, or like anything that you make for me.
I wouldn't begrudge anyone that knows me if they didn't want to eat the things that I cooked. But that's just me. That's me knowing my own limitations here. I'm like, hey guys, I brought this fruit platter. I hope it's good. It's funny.
I got these pierogies.
My family... Yeah, I got... I guess like my parents and my family's palate was very like anti-vegetable, anti anything that couldn't be called like American food. Yeah. And I don't think we really there weren't a lot of kids who weren't white at my elementary school, and then I don't really remember I don't remember that ever being a thing. Like kids from other like ethnic backgrounds like bringing food and even remembering it. But again, I mean, but I do remember like my mom, and who was like in charge of the food in the house, like, yeah, passing a lot of judgment on like any kind of food that was not like pizza or potatoes, or you know what I mean, or like, like we grew up in like a very like, you know, your plate has 3 items on it. It has like a canned vegetable, it has like a, you know, a starch, and it has a meat. Like I don't think I ate sushi or like any like I don't think I even ate like a fucking avocado until I was like old, like way old. So and now I have a very diverse palate, but you know, I never ate fish growing up. No.
I had a very similar experience for very different reasons, right? So my mom was like afraid of a lot of processed foods, so like didn't eat processed foods, and like wouldn't cook, so like, and wouldn't let me cook either. So like didn't really eat hot foods that often, unless it was like microwaved, right? And so like when I first started eating like food, like it was so radically different from anything that I had experienced before, and I would have to like. Like, I was so used to, like, kid cuisines and shit like that. That, like, going to, like, a Christmas dinner or, like, a Thanksgiving dinner, I'd be like, oh my god, this is actually the best food I've ever eaten in my entire life.
Because it's hot and was cooked.
Like, not in a microwave.
Like, kind of the bare minimum.
Yeah. Like, I'm not, just like shoveling down like super like disgustingly sweet corn and like a chicken parm patty that was like perfectly frozen molded. I don't know. However they make this shit. I don't want to know, like, but yeah.
Yeah.
Not getting all the microplastics from the fucking the plastic sheet on top.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I regret it for sure. I definitely, like, even until I met Christopher, really, I didn't really expand my palate. Like, my former spouse was also kind of raised in a similar environment, so it was very much like, well, I guess we'll go eat, pizza, like, or, whatever. So I definitely regret that, all the good food I missed out on.
Yeah. I've met people like that, though, who, like, refuse to eat vegetables or... like refuse to eat anything that's not very, very basic. And I mean, the most egregious offender was when I was up in Seattle living with 3 Matts. The one Matt is taking us out for noodles, pho, right? And the other Matt, one of the other Matts, I'm not going to mention. Actually, I shouldn't have mentioned any of these Matts' names. What am I doing?
They're only Matt. It's not like they're going to.
Matt, right?
They're not going to be able to tell which Matt you're talking about.
Well, they'll know exactly, right? But anyway, if they're listening, the other Matt was like, "Oh, like, are they going to have chicken? Because like, I don't really eat noodles. I don't really want to drink any of the broth." And we're like, "All right, well, you don't really have to come, right? I mean, we wanted it to be a group thing, but if you really can't eat it, don't come." And then he came and he like picked the like bits of chicken out, and that's all he ate. And he was like, "They really sort of skimped here, man." And it's like, dude, look at all of the noodles. Look at like everything else in the soup. Please eat.
Also, who doesn't eat noodles? Like,
I know
you don't eat chicken noodle soup. Like, I know it's different, but like,
no,
that's crazy.
Because he was like a gym bro. He only ate rice, chicken, and peas. And like sometimes he would eat burgers and occasionally pizza. And, like, that's it. I never saw him eat anything else. Like...
That's crazy.
I don't know, that guy.
Yeah.
He also had some mommy issues, which, I don't know. I'm not gonna say whether or not I feel like they collated, but yeah. I feel like there's something to that.
Collated?
Or correlated, sorry, whatever. Yeah.
Collated.
Yeah. I'm not sure whether or not he was collating those files there, right?
Oh my god. Yeah. No, but that's, I mean,
it's a sign of immaturity, to me at least, right? I think that, like, expanding your palate is a sign of maturity.
Right? Like,
yeah,
I think, there's definitely people who have, like, super, like, intense sensory problems and, like, things like that. Like,
Food sensitivity, I totally get. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm never going to ridicule you. Well, actually, I will if you're, like...
You literally just...
I know, I was going to say I will if you're, like, a big mama's boy who's also kind of a jerk. But outside of that...
Damn. Ricky, you don't have to be mean to yourself on the podcast like this.
That's not me, no! Wow. Just I'm mean to myself,
making
too.
The mic blow out again.
Yeah.
No, but it's one of my favorite parts of traveling is eating.
Yeah.
Like, the good food. I don't even, I don't love traveling. Now, granted, I feel like I've never been on a trip that I didn't have to fucking plan myself, so maybe I would feel differently. But, yeah, I feel like I'm not really into the sights so much. Like, I don't, love to, like, whatever. I like people watching, I like eating, and I feel like those are the best parts of traveling. And so,
yeah.
Yeah. I was very grateful to eat a disgusting amount of seafood this past weekend.
Yeah, so good. I love traveling. I love traveling for food. I miss living near Philly for like the great food there. So many good restaurants in that area, and even out in the suburbs, there's like pockets of communities which have just ridiculous food. Have you ever been out of the country for food?
No,
or just in
I've never
general?
been out of the country in general. No,
yeah,
I will in like 4 months.
Dude.
From today,
yeah, that's
honestly.
gonna be so sick.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous, honestly.
Hell yeah, about to eat.
Living my dream.
Delicious food.
You could have ramen like every day, multiple times
for
a
like
day.
$1. Yeah.
I know, dude.
It's gonna be awesome.
It's so cheap. Oh man, it's crazy. I can't think about that.
Gonna piss Ricky off.
I'm already pissed off. I got the vein. Okay. Yeah. No, I went to the Caribbean on that cruise I went on like a year ago, and I had conch down there, which was really cool. Very interesting.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a cool seafood thing to eat. It's like a mix between a lobster and like just a large mollusk. Which was good. Definitely interesting. And then honestly, the fruit on board was kind of like amazing. It was really good. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, because they had like cut up
can be,
like fruit.
Amazing. Fruit can be
Yeah.
really hit. Yeah.
It's watermelon season right now.
Watermelon's bad. Watermelon is water ice, but the fruit version. I'm not taking questions at this time. Ricky just hit the roof. Ricky just literally sat up and shot out of his chair. Ricky gave definition to hitting the roof just now. He is holding his face like he's breaking the news to his kids that he's getting divorced. Like,
what are some fruits or melons that you enjoy?
Melons in general are bad. Like I don't like cantaloupe. I don't really like. Yeah, they taste like boring. Like they taste like cardboard. They taste like wet cardboard. It's a texture thing. I like the flavors. It's just that the flavor is like 1% of the whole. So. It's like someone took cardboard and like chopped it into cubes and then squeezed like a dropper of like juice onto them, and then they're like, "Here you go." That's what the experience.
I'll just say agree to disagree. I have had melons like that. Specifically, like anything pre-cut.
Maybe I just haven't had
like
good
that.
stuff. Yeah, sure, but
I don't know. I always hear that people don't like honeydew melon. That's like the big one that people pick on. When I think like a ripe
like
honeydew
cantaloupe.
is ridiculous. Yeah. Cantaloupe is great. Cantaloupe, I feel like cantaloupe hasn't been as good the last couple of years, but it's lost a bit of its kick. But it used to have a lot of kick to it. Same
Love
thing.
An
Have
apple.
you heard? Oh yeah, I love good apple. Have you heard that jalapenos? They've actually been the common jalapeno genus that's available now is like toned down, which is why you can't find good hot jalapenos anymore outside of like the canned ones.
Interesting.
And you can say doubt, say sours, whatever.
I literally was nodding along. I know. Clown.
But yeah, it's crazy.
Riled up.
I am.
I like a grape.
Because you. Okay, grapes are good. Do you freeze grapes? Do you like frozen grapes? Or do you like them fresh?
I've never frozen a grape. I don't think. I didn't know that was a thing.
I had a roommate who would freeze grapes every time I bought them. I would say like specifically, hey man, I'm putting these in the crisper. I don't want them frozen. I like fresh grapes. I like to crunch them. And then like I'd come downstairs and they'd be in the freezer. And he'd be like, oh, I forgot about that. You take them out, they're soggy. They don't have the crunch anymore. Every time.
I like plums and peaches and
good
prunes.
Plum is good?
Yeah. Love a
so
prune,
the thing is,
actually.
Okay.
Regular. Yeah.
That's interesting. I was going to say for like plums. What about like nectarines, peaches? Yeah?
Yeah. Like an orange.
So
I don't think I ate an orange until I was literally 24 years old.
What the fuck?
Probably. Yeah, honestly. I didn't, yeah. I'm telling, yeah, my family was deeply, deeply fucked up.
So, like, exact opposite. My mom would get mad at me for, like, how fast I would eat fruits. I would eat whole watermelons in a day. I still do eat whole watermelons in a day. Like, tins of strawberries. But that's when they were cheaper.
I don't love strawberries. I like strawberries, but they're overrated. I think they get too much play in the fruit, like, smorgasbord.
I would actually agree with that, yeah. But that's just because there's so many other fruits out there. It's like, why?
Well, yeah, any kind of berry, like raspberries or blackberries, blueberries, all of those are better than strawberries.
So like blackberries, the little sour bits in the middle aren't great.
Those are great. I love that. As a sour bit in the middle myself. As a person of sour bit experience.
I like it sometimes, but it's like not good for making smoothies or whatever. It's good off and on. It's kind of 50-50. I go back and forth on it. I don't know. But anyway, back to an earlier point. Apricot, the flesh of an apricot, like, it's consistent all throughout. I feel like they're just a small melon.
No, I disagree. They have a completely different texture.
It's just it's a slightly firmer texture. That's all.
I think Slightly's doing a lot of heavy lifting here. Anyway, we are talking about
a nice ripe
movie
nectarine
podcast.
Versus a nice ripe honeydew melon. The inner layer of that honeydew melon is going to be the exact same consistency as that nectarine, up to about the same like layer too, right? You're going to get like the same 1.5 inches of like nice tender flesh. Let's move on.
We cannot have this be our longest episode. We simply can't.
It's not. This is not even that long.
No, I know, but we need to talk. And we've been talking about not this movie for literally a half hour.
Well, we hit all the main points, and then we started talking about food.
Have we covered a lot of... I guess we have. We have covered quite a few movies not in English. I'm doing a count.
Yeah, kind of surprising.
I'm not counting the anime, because that's a little bit... I'm just setting that aside.
Why? You don't count them as real movies?
Well, no, just because what I'm about to bring up... Yeah, okay. Ricky is bringing his arm back like he's Popeye.
Why I oughta...
Yeah, no, so like Yojimbo, obviously Playtime is in Simlish, Memories of Murder, News from Home. I'm thinking of, I do think that this is a great movie. I do think anytime I watch a movie in a language that's not English, sometimes I wonder how accurately Western folks or like people who speak English can really assess how good a performance is in a language that's not their own, or like anybody that assessing a performance of a language that you don't speak, because in my mind, like, the acting in this movie is rather subtle. It seems good and funny. The comedic timing is there, right? But like, sometimes I wonder, I do think that like there's almost an overcorrection from some like American, specifically like film critics or like film like cinephiles that are like, I don't know, I feel like it's either, you feel like you have to rate a movie higher if it's not in English, or if there's a, just like a difficulty in assessing a performance that kind of lends you like the benefit of the doubt almost, or if it's even like because you're not wrapped up in like the acting necessarily in the same way, you're kind of cut to the emotion a little bit better because you're not thinking of it in the same way, since you don't know how the words are being intoned. I don't know, I just said a whole lot of things, so I'll let you respond.
I think a lot of it's cultural, right? I think that context maybe isn't so much language barrier as it is cultural in a lot of ways.
Sure. For sure.
Yeah, I do think it's an interesting point, separating the language from like the emotion being conveyed by the performance, because maybe not the intonation, but like when you read a subtitle, you're kind of like getting it all at once, and then you're hearing them say the words. And like, obviously, it doesn't line up exactly, right? But you're waiting for, like, the shoe to drop, essentially. Like, if something dramatic or important has been said, you're kind of waiting to see when the other person reacts to it. And so that can be very different just because of, like, the sentence structure, and so, like, what somebody is reacting to, and, like, when they're reacting to it. And then, I mean, culturally, it's, like, how they're reacting to it. But, like, you saying this is more subtle... I think, I don't know how subtle a lot of it is. Some of it felt
the story's not subtle.
Like some of the...
No.
Right. And like some of the performances felt sort of over the top too, in certain places.
I guess so. I'm thinking of like maybe it's the writing that's more subtle in like the interactions specifically. Like the story itself, the plot is not. But like we were talking about, like there's no big yelling or like, anything like that. So
I think they do put in a lot of subtlety, specifically between the sisters, right? I think there's a lot of like more subtle interplay, and like just with their glances, and with like I was talking about earlier, there's sort of conspiratorial tones, like what they're willing to talk about with like which sister and what they're willing to share with their father, and like how they kind of like prep each other for like going into like a certain dinner with their father that might be fraught with tension.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is like very, it's like culturally comparable, I guess. Like it's very easy for anyone in a large family to be able to be like, oh, okay, like this is a family tradition. Here's how we get through it. And like,
Yeah.
it's easy to be like, oh, like brothers and sisters, like, all right, guys, like we gotta go do this. I would say the hospital scenes, specifically when she is like chasing after her father, and then like she seems like very affected, and like you see her like go to say something and she doesn't. It seems almost like soap opera-esque, right? Not in a bad way. I mean, I think it was well acted, right? I just think like that the way everything was sort of like shot and cut together there was very sort of like,
Yeah, the editing is strong, or not strong, but like action-y or action-packed,
Right.
for like such a dramatic kind of like slow movie, or you know,
Yeah.
not like, you know, action-packed movie. Yeah.
yeah. I kind of enjoyed it though, right? Because it adds like it adds a good pace to the film, right? Especially,
oh, totally.
like,
Yeah, it keeps it moving.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And when we see him
Yeah.
in the kitchen in the beginning, right? And like it has after that intro scene when he goes into like work, and
Yeah.
it has that like real fast pace, and that sort of matches the pace of the cutting and like what you'd expect
Yeah.
from like what the like how the film is being made. And then to see, oh, okay, well that's kind of how he lives his life, and so that's kind of how we're going to get all of these interactions are in this sort of like these sort of cuts around, focusing on different people. And,
I don't think that scene cuts.
and like the
I'm watching
war.
it now.
It might not. I mean, it does when he walks
it-
back into the walk-in, right? And he's like
I'm looking-
he's like getting
yeah.
fish and whatnot. I mean, before that though, when it's following him into the
Oh, it
kitchen,
does cut.
everything
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
like it's got that feverish pace where like, or well, I guess everything in motion is the feverish pace.
everything.
there.
Yeah, it's like these like crazy, like the camera's zooming in on like oil being poured into a wok and like shit like
Right.
that. It's
Yeah,
but then when it's on him, it's much more like steady. You know,
Right.
it's
But
following
shit's
him from
happening in the
behind.
background, and like
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
panicking, but he's there and he's like the center of calm. Yeah.
And it is very different from the opening scene, which is just, I mean, there's a lot of cuts there, but it is very kind of like, it's all him. And I mean, there's a lot of like meticulousness. So you see a lot of these foods being prepared kind of like from start to finish in this opening scene.
And he's very calm in the opening, but his daughters are
Yeah.
very sort of like frantic, all at work. Like all of them are working, all of them are like,
Yeah.
all right, well, like we gotta do this.
At Wendy's. Yeah.
Yeah, Wendy's, yeah, super frantic there. But like, it's just like a funny sort of like juxtaposition between the two, because he tries to be the like strong like cornerstone of the family, right? He has to support
Yeah.
them, and then once he starts to like feel them moving out, right? He's like, okay, well the chicks are leaving the nest. He's like, well, I think I provided enough for them, like. I need
Yeah, it's
someone else to
time.
provide for.
And
Yeah,
then- right.
Because he likes it, and they talk about that
He
like
does.
with their mom and him fighting. And they're like, oh, it was
Yeah.
a war. It was just a war constantly,
Yeah.
and we don't get much look into their relationship outside of that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they talk about it more. I know there was a flashback, and it didn't seem like they were particularly at odds there.
No.
So I don't know. I mean, maybe that could just be how they saw it as kids, and maybe that was just their love language. They just like to
Yeah.
butt heads a little bit, and they were
Bicker.
fiery.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
but
a
he
part
doesn't
where
seem that way with Madame Liang. Yeah, sorry, go on.
No. You mean, not Madame Lung, because she's the mom.
Well, when he talks to her, like she's very aggressive all the time, and he's
sure.
very sort of like demure
Right.
and
He
stuff.
just lets it go.
And right. With Jin Rong, he's like we don't see very much of their interactions except for the one. And again, he's
Yeah.
it's. I mean, he's very
It's very
attentive
friendly,
towards her,
but yeah, right.
Yeah.
There's a part in this opening scene where he like carefully arranges everything into a bowl and like makes it look delicious. Like I think it's like a stack of like mushrooms or something. And and it's like in the steamer and it's just sitting there steaming. It looks delicious, and then he just dumps it. It was just holding the things for like temporarily. It looks better than anything I've ever made, and it's just like, oh, this was just the temporary fucking staging of this bowl of vegetables. It's crazy. It looks so good. Anyway, good.
That's
movie.
interesting. I mean, I know, maybe not in Asian cuisine, but like Middle Eastern cuisine, they'll, and like in Middle Eastern homes, they'll sometimes just like fry up like herbs and incense and whatnot, just to make the house smell good. And they'll sometimes do that before they cook too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Sheesh.
Yeah. Or like a simmer pot. People do that too.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Like ginger and cinnamon, that sort of stuff, allspice.
Yeah. Depending on the season, of course, you have to do different ones. But,
Right. I would hate to go against the season.
It's important. I don't want my house smelling like allspice in July. Like that would fucking suck. That'd be crazy. But it's also good to keep the humidity going in the house. You leave it simmering for a couple hours on the stovetop. It's good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Pretty sweet.
Anything else to say about this movie?
We kind of mentioned the school. I don't know. I'll say Zhaijian has a couple of really good scenes. The singing scene, that was kind of touching.
Oh, the karaoke.
Yeah. And she thinks that the one guy's like singing for her, and she still doesn't know if he's been sending her notes, and like so that was my one thing. I didn't see the translation of the notes, and the top of them, like, we can kind of assume that they started getting like more and more suggestive explicit over time. But this still seemed to be at the point where she was like, is he doing it? And if so, is that charming? Do I enjoy this like sort of affection? Before she's like, oh, like, no, this is harassment. Like, it needs to stop now. So I don't know. That's kind of a missed opportunity, is being able to read those notes and like pause and read through them and see what they actually say. I'm sure they're just sort of like love notes, but also fucked up of her students to be doing that. And they did have a really funny scene where she leaves and like all of them are cheating, and it's in like the most ridiculous ways possible. They're like written on the inside of the wrapper of a water bottle. It's like stuffed into their shoes, like their insoles they've replaced with it. Inside of a headband, like just the most cartoonish, like overblown, over the top ways, like written on pencils and like all six sides of them. And so that was a really, really funny scene. And that's what I'm saying. There's so many scenes in this movie that are just like laugh out loud funny. And like some of them are just like sort of almost bits where it's just like the driving off in a motorcycle, like getting married and driving off in a motorcycle. Like, come on, that's just funny. And the fact that it happens with both the youngest and eldest sister. Speaking of the youngest sister, the love triangle there, that was kind of funny.
That's funny. Yeah.
When she's like having the talk with the other girl, she was like, listen, I thought you hated him. Okay, you said
I thought you didn't love him.
That.
Yeah.
Like, you said you didn't love him.
Yeah.
She's like, you never loved him. You were messing around with him. Yeah, get out of here.
Yeah.
That was really great.
The whole thing is full of those moments.
Yeah. It's a really, really enjoyable watch. This is one that I definitely want to watch again. Like, no question in my mind. And a lot of that comes down to I do kind of worry that I missed out on some things. Watching it, which like I'm sure happens in every movie. Like, you're not going to catch everything the first time. But in like foreign language films in particular, the rate of missing, whether it be not even higher. Like hidden puns, but like literally just like very sort of like surface level text stuff.
Especially because sometimes you just are reading a subtitle and you don't see what's happening in the rest of the frame. Even just for a fraction of a second, that can be enough. So,
or you get distracted by a cute cat out of the corner of your eye, and I knew you'd look for yours. Wow.
Yeah,
I got mine here. But yeah, it is really easy to sort of like lose like a small bit of the action or like miss a subtitle or something, and then it's like, well, you go back or you just let it flow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's a rewarding rewatch as well. You know, knowing where things
Yeah.
are going, because of course the twists are like, they're fun. You know where it's going after the first watch, so it
Right.
is very rewarding.
I would love to rewatch it just to be able to like see the dad and like try to line up like
Track his emotions and
yeah. Well,
yeah.
and like track his like oh my god, his virility things, because he was writing down the
Right.
recipes to increase virility. Oh my god, I didn't put that together. I thought he was doing that for like his kids or something. I thought that was weird too.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. What the fuck?
Yeah.
This is such a good movie. It's so good.
It's a great movie. Yeah. Have you seen any other? Go ahead.
No, say, have I seen any other what?
No, well, because
Okay.
I'm taking the conversation in a different direction. What?
Oh, there was a scene with the cat like meowing in the background. And
Oh,
my
yeah,
cats are
it's
getting sort of
yowling.
worked up.
The
Yeah,
cat's
it's
trying to,
yowl.
yeah.
trying to
That cat's
shag,
looking for-
and it's
yeah.
with the middle sister as she goes into this point of like, not celibacy, but I mean she's the only
Yeah.
one that's not going at it like
Yeah.
later on in the film. So it is sort of interesting where like you get that flip, and she's the one that's sort of messing with the cat there, sort of pointing towards that being her storyline. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't meant like that,
Yeah.
but it reads like that.
No. I definitely, the cat thing definitely, I think is supposed to be, yeah, for sure.
Anyway, what are you gonna say? Have I seen any other?
Any other movies from this director? So
No.
Ang Lee he did. I've only seen a couple. Other ones that he's done. The Ice Storm is one that I watched. That's a good movie from the 90s. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. He did Hulk, the very first Hulk movie. Brokeback Mountain. A couple other Life of Pi.
What?
So
He
he's
did
done some-
Brokeback Mountain? What?
Yeah. So we should do Brokeback's on this list, on our watch list. So
That's crazy.
yeah. Have you seen any of those?
I don't think so. I might have seen the original Hulk, but I think that'd be it.
Some people think it's really good, so I don't know. I have not seen it.
I watched it. I think in like 2005 or something. I did like it, but
Yeah.
you know what? That might have been the
I don't
reboot,
think-
The Incredible Hulk,
I was gonna
which came
say-
out in 2005.
I was gonna say, because there's Hulk, and then there's
Oh, no,
the
this was
Incredible
2008.
Hulk.
What? Oh, that is 2008. It would have been released in a planned sequel, which would have been
Because
okay.
this was before the MCU, and
Right.
then the new one, the Incredible Hulk, is the one from the MCU that came out like right after Iron Man or right before Iron Man, and this was with Edward Norton. And then they were like, Edward Norton, he's a really volatile presence and not a box office draw, and this movie didn't do so well. Bye. So
I think that was the one I watched. Yeah.
yeah.
Shame.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, but yeah, it looks really cool. I definitely want to check out more of his films.
Me too.
This was like, I know I've mentioned that. What's his face? What's that other director who did Grand Budapest?
Wes Anderson.
Yeah, I know I've said that Wes Anderson films have that like look of like what I think a film should look like. I want to change my answer. I think all films should look like this film, actually.
If all
should
films
feel
looked
like
like this
this
film,
film.
they'd be good. Yeah.
Yeah, they would.
I think we should just only watch this movie. We should only watch it for the rest of our lives.
Well, I don't know about that, but yeah, it is really, really good.
It is really good. I agree. You can't go wrong with like food, sex, warmth, family, like all those things. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. Yeah, okay. Next time when we want some lighter fare, we'll keep this movie in mind.
Yeah. Sweet. whenever we need a break.
Yeah. Speaking of, the next film that we're watching on this podcast is a very light and frothy kind of watch, I think. Like real fun, like kind of, joyful, lots of food and sex in it. It's called Long Legs from 2024, directed by Oz Perkins. Ricky is like, huh?
I got confused. For the listeners, we're recording this out of order.
Yeah.
We've already seen Long Legs, and this description doesn't precisely match up with it. I thought this was going to be... I didn't know where this was going, I'll be honest with you.
Well, it is going in that direction because that is the episode for next week. It's just fair warning. It's a little bit rough sounding because we had one mic for 4 people.
We made it do. We had to make do, okay? It was tough.
Yeah, you have to do nothing. You had to sit there. I am the one who has to make do with the one mic.
What do you mean? I tried to make things work. It didn't work out.
It didn't work. So, it's fun. It's a fun app. We got some laughs. Definitely a divisive movie. I feel like the vibes were interesting on that episode. So, that movie should be in theaters still when this episode comes out. It's doing really well at the box office. Go see it.
Yeah, check it out before you watch the app.
And if not, go read the Wikipedia page.
That'd probably do. Maybe watch TikToks about it.
No, go watch the movie. Go watch the movie if you can. Don't listen to Ricky. Ricky's a hater.
Watch it
Ricky
in like
auteurs.
10 times speed, in like 2-minute clips on TikTok.
I'm actually thinking of going and seeing it again. So
yeah,
yeah. You
know what? I'll say here. I was also thinking of that because it's still kind of on my mind.
Yeah.
It's
you got this. There's a huge black spot behind you, Ricky, in the door. Ooh, spooky.
So when you mentioned.
Wait, are you saying something that I said was thought-provoking and stuck in your craw?
Yeah.
God damn.
It just stuck its barbs up in there. Yeah, nice. Don't break an arm.
Yeah.
So, specifically, and I mean, I guess a bit of a spoiler for next week. I don't know if you want to cut this out later. That's up to you. Make it more work for you. You mentioned how people have been hyping this movie up as like one of the greatest horrors, yada yada. And going into the movie with that expectation definitely leads to a certain mindset, right?
True.
I want to go into it without that expectation, with just seeing a horror film.
That's what I'm saying.
And I feel like I might be able to enjoy it a bit more and enjoy some of the possible other things it provides, such as dark humor. I didn't want to say that. I said it anyway.
I think dark humor, I don't think it's a much of a spoiler to say. I don't know if you saw they started a new ad campaign that it's like the #1 movie in America, and there's a little asterisk after it that says after Despicable Me 4. Like this movie is yeah. So they know what they're doing. I think people should know that there's some dark humor going in.
I saw a tweet like that. I thought it was just like somebody on Twitter making a joke.
No, that's like
that
the
was like an ad campaign.
Actual ad campaign, yeah. And I also put a little tag at the beginning of last week's episode too, saying that we were doing Kinds of Kindness and Long Legs, so it shouldn't be too much of a surprise. So
yeah, I feel like that's
see
pretty
it.
warranted.
Yeah,
it's a cool film. I think whether or not you like it,
right,
whether or not you come out feeling like it's worth the watch.
We have
all right, my bad.
Yeah,
okay, my bad.
I just want to point out for anyone listening, because next week's episode, when you hear Ricky and Lucy and Chris all being like, yeah, I don't know, this movie's kind of like
no, you're right.
And then,
I did shit
and
talk.
and now Ricky's like, you know what? I thought about some of the things you said. And, you might be right. I kind of want to go see it again. Yeah. Well, okay. I'm just saying what happened.
And
anyway,
I thought more on the film itself, and maybe I wouldn't say got a deeper appreciation. I did talk to one of my friends about the movie too, which helped with it a bit. No, imaginary.
Well, if you If you see the movie again, send me your tight 10 and I'll edit it in at the end of next week's
Oh,
episode.
shit. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, that'd be a cool little
So you
blurb.
could be like, damn, Lane was right, and actually...
yeah. I'll send you like a full video, head down the entire time. Like, these are the 13 things I did wrong. Lane was correct.
These are my 13 reasons why.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. All right. Next week, long legs, and it's a good app. So,
yeah, tune in.
Take us out somehow. I don't know. What's the outro? No.
Let me in now. It could be now. Wait, what is it? It could be so simple or something like that. And if you say no, then I have to come back. Not once, but twice. Not twice, but as many times as I like. It's something like that, right? Listen, I only saw the movie once, like a week ago. I don't have great memory.
About a week ago? Anyway, I'm ending it with WAP again.
Hey, about a week ago. Ending with that, actually. What happened to Bobby Shmurda?
Did he go to jail?
Wow, he
Isn't that
did.
the whole thing?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. I'm ending the episode.
I don't cook, I don't clean, but let me tell you, I got this ring.
Gobble me, swallow me, drip down inside of me. Quick jump out for you, let it get inside of me. I tell them where to put it, never tell them where I'm about to be. I run down on them before I have a nigga running me. Talk your shit, bite your lip. Ask for a call while you ride that dick.